Every image you see on your screen is made of glowing pixels in red, green, and blue. But the moment we bring those images into the physical world of print, they must be rebuilt using inks: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. In this video, I'll show you how that conversion works, why it's not always perfect, and what printers do to overcome those challenges. The RGB color model is additive. It creates color by adding light. Red, green, and blue, combined at full intensity, make white light. CMYK, on the other hand, is subtractive. Cyan ink absorbs red, magenta absorbs green, and yellow absorbs blue. When these inks overlap, they subtract parts of the light reflecting off the paper. Ideally, combining all three inks would create a solid black, but in reality, impurities in pigments cause a muddy brown, which is why we add a separate black channel, the K, to anchor depth and detail. When we convert RGB to CMYK, what's really happening is a mathematical translation from one set of primaries into another. But because inks can't reflect as intensely as screens can emit light, many colors, especially bright neons or highly saturated tones, simply can't be replicated in print. This is where the concept of gamut loss comes in. The printed version has a smaller range of possible colors compared to the digital version. To compensate for this, printers often use spot colors. Spot colors are pre-mixed specialty inks like metallics and fluorescents, or corporate brand colors that must be exact. For example, a neon green might look vibrant on screen, but dull when converted to CMYK. By adding a spot ink specifically for that color, we preserve its intensity. This practice is also essential for logos and branding, where color accuracy is a non-negotiable. It's also why large companies often specify Pantone codes, ensuring consistency across every print job. Another fundamental technique in printing is the use of halftones. Since printing presses can't spray a continuous tone of ink, they break colors down into tiny dots. The size of the dots controls how much ink covers the paper. Smaller dots with less concentration calls for lighter tones, while larger dots with more concentration calls for darker tones. When viewed at a normal distance, our eyes blend these dots into smooth images and creates a brilliant optical illusion that looks just like photographic imagery. But there's a catch. If halftone dots from different colors overlap at the same angle, they create interference patterns called moire patterns, which look like unwanted ripples or zigzags. To avoid this, each layer is rotated at a different angle. For example, cyan might be set at a 15 degree, magenta at a 75, yellow at a 0, and black at a 45 degree angle. This might sound confusing, but this diagram on screen should help. There's also many different arrangements printers use, and it's up to the printer for trial and error, depending on the image. This careful arrangement ensures smooth blends and keeps the final print sharp and natural looking. The look of a print isn't only determined by the dots and angles, it also depends on ink opacity. More opaque inks, typically spot colors, cover the paper more strongly, producing bold, dense colors. More transparent inks let some of the background and other colors show through, creating lighter or more delicate shades, but allowing for the mixing of tones in layering. Paper type plays a role here too. Glossy paper reflects light differently than matte paper, and an absorbent surface like newsprint dulls colors compared to a coated stock. Here's an example of a CMYK screen print printed with 100% opaque process colors, CMYK. And here's an example of a CMYK print, which is the same imagery, printed with a mix of transparent base and CMYK pigments, allowing for more blending. Finally, something that I would like to cover briefly, but don't necessarily have the imagery for, is how the layering order of these inks affects the print outcome. So unlike digital pixels that all light up simultaneously on screen, inks are physically stacked on top of each other. So the sequence matters. For example, placing black last is a way of getting very crisp lines and deep shadows on top of everything else and removes the muddiness. Similarly, switching the order of yellow, magenta, and cyan changes how they overlap, subtly shifting hues and saturation. So if I have an image that has a lot of blue in it and I want other colors to show through more prominently, I would put cyan down first to hide those halftones. So what we've seen is that moving from RGB to CMYK is more than just a digital conversion. It's a transformation from light to ink, from emission to reflection. And while some color is lost in the process, the craft of printing with spot colors, halftones, ink control, and layering works to bring digital designs to life on paper. This is a handshake between science and art. The physics of light, the chemistry of ink, and the creativity and technicality of print. Thank you.